for the people that just new to my channel that wanted to get what's up with all these birds. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm just gonna talk about parts list on what you need to get and what you need to have in order to build a G23VTec. I'm just gonna talk about mainly on this motor, on this setup alone, because it gets all confusing when I mix it up with a different block and a different pistons and a different crankshaft and the rods. But I'm gonna try to mainly focus on what I have here. I'm gonna try. Alright, so I'm gonna start off with the block. What I'm using here is F23A4. You can use a F23A1 up to 7. This motor, you could find this on a Honda Accord from 1998 up to 2000 year model. And you can also find this motor on an Acura CL, I believe. The things that you need to use from the block is the crankshaft and also the connecting rods. The connecting rods, it's up to you if you want to use aftermarket one. If you're running NA, a natural aspirated, you can. It's okay to use the OEM connecting rods with no problem. I have used it before, but since I'm running turbo, I just want something a little bit beefier, something sturdy. So I went ahead and got an aftermarket connecting rods, which is, I'm using a max speeding rods, which has served me well. I have no problem with it whatsoever. The crankshaft has a 97mm throw on it, and the connecting rods is a little bit shorter than the H22 and also a H23A1. So this will give you a little bit of a more torque, that is. Water pump. You need to use the F23 water pump. You can buy nowadays the G23 water pump from K-Tuned. I'm not sure how much it is, but you can buy it now. Or if you don't want to buy it, if you want to go on a cheaper route, you know, save some money, and if you happen to have a H22 water pump that you don't use, you can just go ahead and remove that and put it on the F23 water pump, like I did, which is I have a vlog for it. And also I have told you about the balance shaft. Now it's up to you if you want to delete it or not, but I highly recommend to get one of those aftermarket dampener. That way, if you do delete your balance shafts, then at least you have a little bit of protection. You know, something will absorb the harmonic balance or the harmonic sound of all the connecting rods, pistons, and the crankshaft, along everything that rotational things that goes with it. The engine bracket, you can use the F23 engine bracket. I'm not sure if the F22 will fit on this, but I'm just gonna talk about F23. This particular one, I ended up welding an ear to it, this section right here, because I wanted to use the H22 mount, the Hasport one. But if you don't want to do that, then you can use your existing engine mounts. Timing belts, you don't have to have one of these. You can use the one that I have earlier if you're on the if you want to save some money, which is also made by Gates. I got that one from O'Reilly for under $30, and I just found out that it was made in the USA. So as this one. So it's also a good feeling that you know, when you buy their products, that we're helping out someone here being employed in the US, which is a good thing. It's good that we help out our local economy and all that. Let's talk about cooling. Now this side is from an F23A1, and then this side is from H22. You need to have both of these. It's either cut it, well, I ended up cut it here because I needed this fitting right here so I can run my oil cooler. You don't have to have an oil cooler on your motor. It's up to you if you want to use one. But let me talk about this pipe first. Anyway, it's up to you wherever you want it. You can cut it here, along here if you like, and you can use the rubber hose. You don't have to weld it. I don't know if I did a good job or not, but it holds. Anyway, I ended up cutting it here. That's where I want it to be. So it's up to you where you want it. Like I said, you can have it welded, or you can just use a rubber hose and a clamp. It will be a little bit tighter because of the size. This is have a smaller diameter than the H22. Okay, and as far as the oil cooler, you don't really have to have this setup. It's up to you if you want to use it or not. But in case you need it, you want to run one, all you need to do is remove those plug right here and just put a barb fitting on there. I believe I got a stainless steel on there, which is 1/2 by 3/8 NPT, I think, or 1/2. But anyway, if you do remove those plugs, just be very careful. I have a vlog about when I installation of this cooler. Just warm it up and be very careful when you're removing any of those plugs, because it's so the thread is so fine that you could easily, if you're not careful, you could easily strip it, and it's a waste. I think the last time I did it, I ended up using a I think I put a what do you call that, JB weld. It holds, but if you could try not to mess the threads up, the better it is. As far as like the oil pan, you can use a H22 or H23. It'll fit, and also F22. But it has to be a combo. The oil pickup has to be the same. If you're using an F23 A1, you must use an F23 oil pan. If you're using a H22, you must use a H22 oil pickup. So it has to be a combo. You cannot intermix. Not unless you can take a measurement of it, make sure they're all the same as far as like the dimension. Otherwise, you're going to end up having an oil pressure problem. I have a variety of pistons here, which is these two are OEM. This is F23 A1 piston, and then this is OEM K20 piston, H22, and then this is CP. The reason why I went with K20 piston, it's because of the K20 and H22 almost similar as far as like the angle of the valve reliefs. So you don't have to worry about making a contact of your valves on your piston. So you could run a high lift cams, and you don't have to worry about smacking your valves to your piston. That's why I went to K20, which is a CP. Well, let me tell you why I picked a CP. I don't know if everyone knows, or some of you guys that don't know. F23 pistons have an offset as far as like the wrist pin. Right here. It's kind of offset. This is towards the right. It's towards the intake. And K20 is towards the exhaust. Right here. It's in the exhaust side. Because K series, it runs the other way around. I think it's clockwise rotation, and F23, this bad boy, it turns counterclockwise. So if you want to use a K20 piston on a G23 setup, you have to put this backwards, meaning the intake reliefs will be facing the exhaust, and then the exhaust relief will be facing the intakes on the G23. This is to mimic the proper location of the offset of F23 piston. And that is how and why I pick a CP piston, because I don't have to worry about the wrist pin being offset. Now, if you're using a H22, if you want to use on the F23 block, since this is 87, you're gonna have to bore it to 87 millimeter, from 86 to 87, and use the H22. Now, the only difference would be your compression height is different, which is from here to here on top of the piston to the wrist pin is different. I believe this is 31 millimeter and this is 30. So there's a big difference. That's why if you use a H22 on this setup, on a H23 and G23 setup, this will pass the block. This side right up the top right here. Okay. It's okay to use on NA, but not on a turbo. It won't last long. Well, some people got lucky with it, but in my opinion, this is just my opinion. Any piston will pass the block, and if you run in boost, it won't last long. The ring lines it won't be strong enough to hold it. And I think that's just about it for the piston. So what I'm using here is a CP piston. I believe is when I calculated, it was 9.8 to 1 compression ratio. But since I have learned that the block and together with the head, it's been milled, so now I'm probably pushing somewhere in around 10 to 1 compression, I think. So what I could recommend if you want to build one of these is have a plan, figure out what kind of compression you want to run. I thought I was going to run below 10, but apparently I didn't make it. I want to see if, I don't know, maybe I should run E85 on this one. We'll see how it goes. So now we'll go to the head. Okay, as far as the cylinder head, the only modification that you have to do really is just the oil drain on the cylinder head. What I did on mine, I went to, I think O'Reilly. There's a plug that you could buy. It consists of a bolt and 2 washers from the top and the bottom, and there's a rubber right in the middle. So what you're doing, the more you tighten it, you're squeezing the rubber, and it's just jamming inside the hole. And then that's what I use. And then I just fill this up with RTV, top and bottom. And it works well. But you can still find some plugs. You can buy one from eBay. But you just need to measure the size. You got to get the dimension. Apparently the cylinder head has a different sizes on a drain hole. So you got to find out what cylinder head drain hole dimensions you have, and then you can buy the plugs. It has I think it's aluminum, and then it has 2 O-rings on there, and then you can just, it's up to you if you want to fill with a Honda bond or something. Honda bond is pretty good as far as like sealing stuff. I never had any problem with the Honda bond. Head gasket, I use F23 head gasket, nothing more, and it served me well, you know, using boost with no problem. And I have mentioned before that I was using, we use a Felpro before, and we never had any luck. We found out that it was leaking right here. Somehow they made it too thin, one of these right here. So I highly recommend to use a OEM head gasket. Some guys have used a different head gasket, but like I said, on this setup I only use F23, nothing more. And this is where the oil, the drain plug that you have to plug. The two plugs right there. This one and that one. Right there. Yeah, because the F23 block doesn't have those two drain. As far as the camshaft, you can just use the regular H22A4. It's up to you if you want to use a Type S or anything like that, but if you're going boost, you don't really need it. And the reason why I got this adjustable cam gears, it's because I just want to make it better. As everyone knows that watch my video, it was kind of off a little bit, so I just have to correct it more. That's what I did. You don't have to get one of these. If yours goes in correctly, you know, no problem. You don't really need to have it. And as far as like the timing belt cover, you're gonna be using the F23 one, except for the top because it won't fit because of the bracket. But you can make it fit if you like. You just need to trim some of the cover to make it fit. And so obviously, if you are using it on Accords, you're gonna be needing your Honda Accords crank pulley. Otherwise, you'll be changing the belt. It's either I'm not sure if it's too wide for the Prelude or too narrow. The transmission, it's up to you if you want, which one you want to use. If you are using one of these, I highly recommend to use the MS24, which is is somewhere right in the middle of a Honda Accord transmission and the Honda Prelude. I used to have a M2B4, which is a short gear. It's almost the equivalent of a M2F4, I believe. Pretty much like the same gearing as far as like third gear and fourth and fifth. First and second, it's the same as the Accord. But in able to enjoy this motor, you need something with a short gear. If you're running turbo, you know, whatever you have, it's fine. But in order to really enjoy the power of this, it's no other. It's different than H22. Yeah, you'll be surprised. Simple setup like this, it'll give you 200 horsepower right away. Some good tuning and exhaust, you know, for NA. Yep. Yeah, you'll like this motor, but it's just a little bit of a stepchild. This is the Honda's stepchild motor. I think I'm pretty much like covered just about everything as far as like parts list on what I have on this G23VTec. And if I leave anything out, and if you guys need to know anything more, just shoot a comment, and if I don't know the answer, I'll find it for you if I can. And to all my new subscribers, welcome. I could not believe that I have that much subscriber right now, you know, from 300 something now all the way I'm pushing 800 this time. And truly appreciate all your time, you know, for watching my video. And yeah, I think that's it, and I'll see you guys back next time. Okay, bye everyone. Like and subscribe, hit that like button. All right.